I like the lineup overall. The only issue I see with it is the Survival Druid. Survival Druid has been quite unimpressive in many of the games that we've seen it play over the past few days. It doesn't have like an abysmal win rate, but the deck just doesn't feel as smooth as it once did. You're so much more reliant on drawing the ramp early, and it's so much harder for you to come back in the game if you don't draw ramp. So luckily Fr0zen starts off with an Overgrowth, and unlike Zalae, Fr0zen does have Animated Broomstick in his list, so he can come back on board states that he's lost. Holy moly, he's got double Penflinger in his opening hand. How will Fr0zen ever defeat this?
It's a good question. The double Penflinger does give a lot of power to removing small boards, but not really against minions that have 5 and 6 health. That's going to be a lot trickier. So I am curious to see if Briarthorn has some more tricks up his sleeve that we're not necessarily thinking about. But yeah, the Penflingers, they're not super important. It's really about that early game tempo. And looks like he's going to go for that Evil Miscreant just to get things started.
Penflingers aren't super important. Honestly, I don't think the Penflingers are super important, period, the whole game.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not a big fan of the Penflingers
realistically. Yeah, I mean, realistically, it could just not be for this matchup, right? Like we're like talking about like what each individual card tries to contribute towards certain things, and a lot of times Penflingers are more of a nod towards aggressive matchups or matchups that you need just a little bit extra burst damage. They're not really necessarily needed for a deck like against Druid, but they could have utility. Not going to say they're going to be completely useless. They definitely have some application.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
a little bit maybe.
In this matchup, actually, you can use them as like burn damage, I suppose, because a lot of times you have an early board lead, and you can just use them later on to weave in with some of the cheap spells in order to try and push those last bits of damage. Head cracking Penflinger! Ah!
Okay.
It's insane!
It's infinite damage.
It's just
vacuum.
You're right, it's infinite damage.
In a vacuum. Of course, you just need the time to be able to execute and pull it off, TJ.
You just Penflinger, head crack every turn. You just hit him for 4 every turn. It all comes back to your hand.
I mean, if you say it like that, TJ, I can't disagree with you. It looks like you really got it figured out.
It's a 5-mana hunter hero power, but double the strength for 2.5 times the mana. That sounds terrible.
Yes.
The more I talk about it, it's just the worse it sounds. Yikes. All right. Ooh.
Funny.
Lightning Bloom in hand with Guardian Animals picked up, so looks quite good to me. He's going to give the 2 cards over to Briarthorn, but the amount of power that he's going to be able to generate on the board is well worth it. Finds Lake Thresher as well. Yeah, that's a full.
I mean, that's a full board clear.
Yeah, just about. But he'll leave up one thing.
Man, full hand already here on turn number 5 in Briarthorn. Thinking about what he can do with these Penflingers, but not a lot. It might just be a Restless Mummy Brain Freeze setup here, or reaction. But then you're still behind on board, which gives Fr0zen the opportunity to start having freedom to ramp, because he did invest his Lightning Bloom, knowing that he could overgrowth on the following turn. Oh, it is a Penflinger turn, TJ.
It's always a Penflinger turn, Dan. Always a Penflinger turn.
Yeah, when in doubt, fling it out.
Wasn't me.
Yep,
I like it. I do feel like if we were going to go for it, we did have opportunity to consider backstabbing as well.
Yeah, there was no backstab targets.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Because you would have to kill a teacher's pet to get the backstab targets.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a relatively dead turn here from Fr0zen. Does ramp up his mana crystals, but because of the overloaded mana, not able to get a lot done. Wand Maker in Rogue. So Rogue has some interesting one-cost spells. Obviously, Brain Freeze. It's part of dual class, so you can still get it. Then you have Pilfer, Togwaggle Scheme, Plague of Madness.
Right.
A lot of weird stuff. All right, now this is where the backstab comes in. Oh, or not.
You don't pick the wands.
No, the Wand Maker instead. Backstab at the very end.
You could Shadow Step a Wand Maker or Shadow Step a the Pharaoh Cat. Yeah, Shadow Step a Wand Maker. Save the flingers. Save them.
I mean, they are the crucial part of the deck.
You don't pick the wands.
I mean, and I know that sounds a little silly, but like it does feel like your entire strategy is based on this, so you might as well try and double down and capitalize while you can.
Iron Beak out. Natural prey to the Flinger of Pens. Desert Hare. Just a little bit down the food chain. Another Iron Beak Owl. More natural prey.
Yes. Briarthorn has excellently anticipated the possibility of the Iron Beak Owl and has appropriately outfitted his deck for that occasion.
Yep. Just go next level.
Stay with me, TJ. It's the first series, DJ, please.
It's going to be a tough board to pick apart, honestly, though.
For no one.
Pretty sure he can do it, though. He's got Restless Mummy, plus double backstab.
It looks like he has tools to do it. I guess the question becomes, does he have mana to be able to pull it all off? Because that's certainly on my mind as well.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah,
So,
I thought so too, but...
You double Pinflinger the Desert Hare. Restless Mummy, backstab an Iron Beak Owl. Then one Pinflinger again on the Exotic Mount Seller. Backstab the other Iron Beak Owl.
Okay.
There's a lot of different ways you can do it. The Pinflingers just need to go... Get the guarantee out of the way first.
Yep.
Oh wow, he can actually kill a lot of this.
Can hold me.
Mm-hmm. Backstab. Well, he also could probably feel safe enough to leave up a little bit onto the board right now. I guess the one thing he would be afraid of is just the raw survival. Maybe, yeah, so I was thinking that maybe Briarthorn wants to save another backstab for that, so he's just going to Pilfer. Okay. That's very greedy, but
What?
he could just die.
6, 7, 8, 9 plus. He was just dead to survival of the fittest.
Oh, one card off.
He just left himself dead to survival of the fittest with backstab in hand.
I think that Briarthorn says if he has survival, he's not beating him anyways, because Penflinger won't be able to do much against it. But, you know, TJ, I always love a double down. And I think these Penflingers...
One thing we've learned about
they're going to
Briarthorn
get
is
some
that...
value.
One thing we've learned about Briarthorn is that if he brings a theme, he sticks to his theme. If he puts Kobold Sticky Finger in his lineup, he keeps it as mulligan every game.
Oh, yeah, you gotta love a guy that's not afraid of commitment.
I mean, this is just a full board clear.
Well done.
I don't know how many of these he has left, though.
Penflingers? He's got 2.
No. Board clears with Penflinger.
Got at least 1. I think he's got at least 1 because it does seem like the situation with Druid will be that they'll be extending the board a little bit more with that Mount Seller before playing Survival of the Fittest, or maybe just playing Ysera. Either way, that gives them an opportunity to respond one last time. That's what we're talking about.
My dream is your nightmare.
Does bring into question, though, how much can Briarthorn hang on for right now? Because at the moment, it's not a lot.
No.
But more than happy to, of course, stand corrected.
Give me a quest.
Because it does seem like the questing adventure can come down here and he can supercharge it. I mean, when you have results like this, seems like you could totally get away with playing the Penflinger.
All right, so 1 to face, 1 into Ysera.
Okay. Definitely not sure.
So you prep double flinger, dagger, deadly poison.
Right.
Think.
I'm pretty sure all those were supposed to go to face.
I fail to see where the 1 damage to the Ysera really matters, and I think Briarthorn may have recognized that. I think. Because, kind of like what you were saying, he needs to find a way to win. And he ain't gonna win if he's basically trying to pen fling his opponent's dragons, right? That's just not gonna work out. At least that's what I think. Totally willing to be corrected here if I'm mistaken.
I'm not going to correct you.
What to do?
Yeah, right now it definitely looks a little awkward here for Briarthorn, because if Fr0zen just extends onto the board in any way, any kind of capacity, like what does Briarthorn do in that case?
Time waits for no one.
Any of these
Why do you
spells
put
really
Fungal
could work.
Fortunes?
Claw makes sense, I think. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
The only meaning left in his deck is Speaker Gidra. He could have Lightning Bloom, Fungal Fortunes, and pulled a ton of portals.
Oh, that's true. I mean, right, because this doesn't actually accomplish any board development, so
No,
I
I don't know what that claw is doing.
Well, the claw, I think, is just to give him more Mount Seller procs. I thought that's what we were originally going for.
Yeah, but he doesn't have. I guess he had another broomstick in his deck, but like if you develop a board here, I guess he's not. He's not. He can't survival to follow up if he Lightning Bloom Fungal Fortunes.
I supply only the finest creatures.
And then if he pulls a bunch of portals, can't survival of the fittest next turn and discards his broomstick, then maybe he finds himself in trouble. Alright, he's looking for portals. Missed a portal. Oh no. Maybe you are supposed to go with the Fungal Fortunes.
It does seem like it would be important to have Fungal Fortunes, but it does. I kind of thought that Fr0zen really wanted to bank on this exotic Mount Seller, so I think he's totally fine, TJ.
But he didn't use the claw.
Yes. But I still think he's fine.
Yeah.
Seems A-okay right now.
Briarthorn's dead.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like Briarthorn could materially use these pen flingers in a meaningful way right now, and I was already a little bit on the fence of whether or not it was a good call to do that, and it seems like it's not working out for him at the moment.
The Brotherhood
Time will tell. Because this is just game number 1, but so far I'm not convinced, TJ, just like you're not convinced.
Because he had essentially
God,
he had essentially the ideal pen flinger hand, right?
The Brotherhood shall
pretty close, yeah, I'd say.
Pretty close.
Some things could have been better. You win some,
Like,
you lose some. You
like
know?
what?
He could have
I'll wait.
He could have gotten Bankleaf way earlier, and his pen flinger
Okay,
shadow
sure.
step backstab hand would have been super sick.
Well,
But,
way earlier would have been like, because if you're playing pen flingers, you have to spend the mana on the pen flinger, right? So you need like
Right.
7 or 8 mana before like Edwin pen flingers really a thing.
That is true. I guess I view it as like there is an opportunity for him to win, even if it's not likely.
Yeah.
But it does look like right now we're just going through the motions to see if Fr0zen can close this one out. There's really not a lot that he can be doing from this spot here.
Yeah, he just wanted to
And
say, all
that's gonna
right,
do
I
it.
cleared your entire board, and I killed you, and you have no cards in your hand.
Seems pretty good to me.
Demoralizing.
Fr0zen's going to take this first game. Druid gets there and going to start things off with a nice 1-0 lead. Remember, Fr0zen really wants people to get this win because he will be able to secure the top spot in this division by doing so. Him alongside ETC, if they're able to both get the wins. And the loss could potentially put Fr0zen in a spot where he, instead of even making playoffs, he gets put in the relegation bracket. But it does seem like that Druid gets a big win. And the nerfs, again, doesn't seem to be impacting Druid too much, especially for deck lists that seem to be favoring anti-aggro strategies or these like small little chip damages through the pen flinger.
Yeah, it's you know that you said it yourself at the very beginning of that game. Is I don't think it's designed for the Druid matchup because it doesn't touch the big minions of Druid. It's more for those tempo matchups where you really just don't want to lose control of the board in the early game. But moving on to the next game, Briarthorn going to try the Soul Demon Hunter instead. Only one pen flinger in this deck, which is the deck that I'd most expect 2 pen flingers in, because other players have actually done that and had success with the double pen flinger Soul Demon Hunter, specifically in Europe. A lot of French players have done that over the past couple weeks. But just goes with one. In this deck, because your win condition is pretty one-dimensional, and you just want damage to face, the pen flinger can serve as a way for you to not have to expend the damage that goes to face earlier on to clear off minions. And it can also serve in slower matchups as a way for you to weave in additional damage later on in the game in combination with like Twin Slice Chaos Strike. So trying out the pen flingers in this list, I loved it. This is the list.
All right, so TJ approves.
This one is TJ approved. The Rogue one, not so much. I felt like that one was a little too fancy. I felt like with like Wand Makers, Shadow Steps, Pen Flingers, my hands early on was just like, all right, well, I can deal with the first 3 things that you play, and then I have Togwaggle, Scheme, Plague of Madness, and Pilfer in my hand, and I, like, all right, what next?
Right.
Like, you do all the cool things early, and then you go, all right, what next? How do I win? And it's super all in on snowballing early with Edwin or questing. But we'll talk about that more if Briarthorn gets to play the Rogue again. For now, Demon Hunter versus Temple Mage, which is a good matchup for Briarthorn.
Yeah, very much so, at least on paper. And right now, Fr0zen with a very subpar win rate on his Mage. Overall, he was clipping like well below the 50% mark on his Mage record. Whether or not that's largely because of something that he's doing with his deck list, whether he's playing incorrectly, whether he's just getting unfortunate. I'm sure we could debate about that for quite some time, but the fact of the matter is Fr0zen is struggling a little bit more with his Mage deck than he is with others. But at the same time, Fr0zen is really aggressive with Mage. He takes the approach very differently from other people, and I respect that. Does have the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the Mana Cyclone. So what we see, just to clarify what we're talking about, Fr0zen plays like really aggressive to try to supercharge his Mana Giant, and we've seen that work out. We've also seen it not pay off. So yeah, maybe that's part of the dynamic where like he believes that he strongly believes that with Mage you should probably be like trying to push for those early game mana discounts. But it does feel like we see him get punished a decent amount for like doing that and not having enough to actually follow up.
Pick the one.
Yeah, and honestly, the more I watch that style, the more I like it. It's just, you have to be playing on point and maximizing the resources that you do get, because there's been so many games where I've seen Mage, like, it just looks like they run out of resources, and then out of nowhere, they have like these crazy hands, these crazy turns. So going all in early, forcing your opponent to react, especially in this matchup, I think it's crucial, because if you just let the Demon Hunter have their way with the game and let them build up the damage in their hand and let them have the time to do that, you're going to lose. You're going to get run over. You have no way to defend yourself. So I want to aggressively search for damage and frostbolts, deep freezes, stop their damage, put them behind. And this turn, I just don't think there's really anything to do. He's got a big pop-off turn next turn. Just kidding.
Time runs out on me.
Mana Cyclone and Wand Thief. We're talking about how aggressive Fr0zen likes to play, TJ, and we're talking about utilizing one of the highest value cards in his entire deck just to get tempo against Demon Hunter. Wow. And I think that's like a mark of a player that really is very confident in the kind of decisions that they need to make. But, of course, to us, the people that value things like Mana Cyclone say, well, it's like, a lot of people call this Cyclone Mage. Shouldn't you just like be trying to prioritize your Cyclones? And to a certain extent, they're definitely right about that. But also, it does feel like this is going to be a really interesting one to watch to see if it ends up panning out exactly the way Fr0zen envisions it.
Yeah, it makes sense. What?
Yeah, it makes sense. Wait, what?
It would have made sense if you just popped off with Sorcerer's Apprentice and Mana Cyclone this turn. Why would you try and speed up your game plan, but then the very next turn slow it down?
I guess it's just like seeing if he had the opportunity to get out ahead really quickly. Or maybe he's just simply responding to the fact that Briarthorn's taking it a little bit slow by like playing a Jockey Warblade. There's not a lot of follow-up to it.
Like, in that instance, right, you play the Mana Cyclone and Wand Thief because you're digging for one extra spell to play with Sorcerer's Apprentice and Mana Cyclone next turn.
Right.
If he was planning on not going for Sorcerer's Apprentice Mana Cyclone, why not just wait a turn to play the Wand Thief? Because then you can combo with something other than Mana Cyclone, so you have another Mana Cyclone to reload beyond that. That's my issue with it. It's just two conflicting plays. I mean, it's possible that it's going to work out, and maybe he wanted one extra mana crystal for evocation. But honestly, the difference between one mana crystal with evocation is pretty small, because it just allows you to get 2 mana spell out, which 2 mana spells, Incanter's Flow, Cram Session. 1 extra mana is not like something that makes it super crucial in evocation. If you're going with evocation early, you're looking to hit 1 mana spells. And,
right.
And by going for evocation, he gets 2 spells. And now he has no second Mana Cyclone.
Right. He has nothing to actually back this up. And now, oh my gosh, all those cards thrown out with
like,
no giant.
Alas, poor warlock.
I'm definitely seeing a lot of what you're talking about, and it does feel like to a certain extent there is something missing with like whether or not Fr0zen can actually find a way to win this game. Finds the Raz off the top. No spell damage to really make it really kill and get board tempo, but he does draw cards to the Elemental Allies. I mean, maybe the Elemental Allies makes him feel like he had additional resources to play with. Malagos is pretty fun to think about with the Raz, but Blood Mage Thanos is probably the best just immediate play. If he wants to go for an immediate play.
I don't know.
Okay, well, right now Fr0zen taking a little bit of a slow turn. Briarthorn, he's got a lot of damage that can go downstairs here, as he has a Marrow Slicer ready to go.
He's in the upstairs position.
You don't pick.
He's about to throw a bunch of damage downstairs.
That's right.
He's about to hop in the hamper and make these stairs his slide.
That's right. And tumble Fr0zen.
Yeah, Fr0zen needs more random generation. Like you oftentimes don't beat Demon Hunter straight up. You need like a Frostbolt or something, like one thing to kind of like buy yourself a turn, right? To stick damage for a turn.
I mean, this helps. Mana Giant does require a response. Briarthorn does have the Blade Dance. Finds a Twin Slice. He didn't really need it because he did have the Soul Shard Lapidary, but now this Twin Slice lets him push damage.
Yeah. So he can go Penflinger on the Violet Spellwing, Twin Slice, Penflinger on the Mana Giant, Hero Power Blade Dance. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess he can fit in a lot of additional stuff, but he's kind of got to go. Penflinger animations take a long time. If he even wants to Penflinger, I think you do, because Penflinger easily takes off the 4th minion, which lets Blade Dance just completely obliterate everything. He's got to go. Rope.
Darksider Mystic instead. Looks like he's opting out of Penflinger here. Oh, no, he's going to go Penflinger after. Oh, he wants the damage. Okay, that works too. Penflinger often is a good way for Demon Hunter to be able to press in, but... Oh, you talked about animation time, TJ.
Animation time, and honestly, if you have the option, I don't like to use Shard Shatter and Blade Dance to deal with board states, right? Like,
It says explode.
now if he's not setting up for lethal, which I think he does actually have lethal in his hand. Actually, it might be one off. Penflinger, Second Strike. Penflinger, Chaos Strike. Penflinger, Hero Power. That's three Penflingers, or exactly 8 mana, which is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, he does have exact lethal. All right, well,
There
he
it
did
is,
set up for
TJ.
2/10 lethal. So what do I know?
Question to Briarthorn.
Penflinger's not my
knew
theme;
that.
it's Briarthorn's theme.
I mean, we kind of knew that the Mage deck would struggle. Like, regardless if Briarthorn didn't even have damage to kill from hand next turn, let's say Fr0zen finds his Ice Barrier, for example. But we knew that it was going to be tough for Mage to win this game because of how late Fr0zen got his Mana Giant. So if we were to kind of level here and talk about like how Fr0zen played that early game, that was a little bit less value oriented, or a lot less value oriented, and a lot more tempo style. I don't know if it would have changed how much aggression that Demon Hunter is capable of putting out.
Yeah, but he didn't really play a tempo style because he completely abandoned his tempo style the turn after it looked like he was committing to a tempo style, and then had to play for value for like 3 turns in a row because he abandoned that. So you're right. You know, bad matchup probably doesn't change anything, but I don't like how he played that early. And Briarthorn, I said I don't like Blade Dance and Charger missing the same turn, but he realized that if he went for that play, it meant that Penflinger damage could start going face, Chaos Strike damage could start going face. It meant that he was setting up a 2-turn lethal outside of a freeze. So it was nicely set up by him. And that's what happens when Demon Hunter is just given the time to do essentially whatever they want. They can concoct crazy Penflinger 2-turn lethals and not even have to break a sweat.
Yeah, that's right. So the Penflinger action has landed Briarthorn a win for now, but we do have that Mage Priest over on Fr0zen's side and that Priest and Rogue on Briarthorn's side as we get to the next game here almost immediately. Briarthorn going to turn to Secret Rogue once more, featuring that Penflinger, that Brain Freeze, that a lot of heavy 1-mana package. But what I do like about the Penflinger dynamic with the Brain Freeze stuff is it does feel like really good opportunities to Secret Passage even in the early game, TJ. Because we do see that a lot of rogues do think about for a long time what the time is to play Secret Passage. And we've seen a lot of players hold like a Secret Passage hand and it's like, I don't know if I should play this like so soon, but with Penflinger and Brain Freeze and all these other cheap cards in the deck, it does make it so that there's a high likelihood that Secret Passage can get almost full value.
Yeah, it's a very lean deck. I mean, look at that mana curve. We provided you with a visualization of the mana curve. 10 1-cost cards and 6 0-cost cards.
Very lean. I can see the 6-pack through the Penflinger shirt.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's so nice and lean. But yeah, overall, like you get to see a little bit of how the deck tends to operate, and Briarthorn, I guess he's really big and intent on shutting down some of these early game boards from his opponents and having some late game opportunities. Penflinger might be one of those cards that a lot of players thought it was going to be powerful. I know Gallon, for example, when the expansion dropped, said, I think they're going to nerf Penflinger. And he tried really hard to make a Penflinger aggro deck work with like Sinister Strikes and Hook Scimitar and like other kind of aggressive tools. And ultimately it ended up falling off a little bit. People started just playing like the secret package, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah. I think one day we're just going to see the most broken Penflinger deck of all time. Like a deck, your 1-cost minions cost 0 or something stupid like that.
It makes it so that if his opponent ever has Generous Mummy, he just like instantly wins the game.
Yeah, it's okay. Generous Mummy, there you go. Yeah. There's gonna be something where you can generate like what was the card, the Warlock card that gave your opponent a minion. And people did the Howler and the discard their opponent's hand in the turns.
Are you talking about the one where you
Treachery.
Give your opponent to
give
your
your opponent
or transforming a demon, your minion to a demon?
No, you Treachery. You give your opponent a minion. So you play Generous Mummy in your deck, and then you put Generous Mummy on the board. You Treachery it, and then you go for an Infinite Penflinger combo.
That sounds really dank. So you play Wild Warlock, you put Generous Mummy, Treachery, and Penflingers.
And then what's the activator though? You need some cheap spell that's Warlock.
Yeah, you play like because I'm pretty sure you could play AOE that kills a play like cheap AOE, right? And then Penflinger will activate even if it does end up killing the Penflingers because Rain of Fire will cost 0 at that point, but Penflinger bounces back. And then you play Bran Bronzebeard for the double Penflinger action. I like it.
Bran Rain of Fire Penflinger?
This sounds so bad.
We might be onto something here.
There's a great wild YouTuber named Mark that loves doing crazy, stupid, like 45-minute combos.
With Soul,
And he will lose at Platinum like 3 for like God knows how long, like 4 hours. And just until he gets this one combo off, because it's really not about it's really about the journey, not the destination with him.
Yeah.
And so when he pulls it off, though, TJ, it is glorious. Also very long.
This is why I like Briarthorn matches, because it never really comes down to hard analysis. It just always comes down to us just diving right in to Briarthorn's theme of the week, and trying to make it work. Trying to bend time and space to break the meta, because I'm pretty sure that's just why the Earth has been graced with Briarthorn's presence, is to break
That's
metas.
Right.
So
it's Briarthorn's world, and we're all just living in it, TJ.
Yeah, I know. Well, on the real though, this is a pretty important match for Briarthorn, because a win means he goes to like second seed. He goes to play-ins for playoffs. A loss means he actually plays in the relegation bracket, guaranteed. A loss to Fr0zen means he can finish either 5th or 6th, which means he's
not good.
Playing in one of the final matches of the relegation bracket.
Yeah, and obviously you want to get those wins as much as you can today. It is really important to position yourself as best as you can for the playoffs, which is in this case it's just a win for Briarthorn. Fr0zen, I guess it's he's pretty close to in, I believe. I don't think there's any variations that doesn't allow Fr0zen to hit the playoffs, but
no, there's one.
We don't want to 100%. Yeah, I think there's not many at all. It looks like TG said there's one. Yeah. So we'll tell you a little bit more about it once we get to that point.
If he loses this match, and then Rami wins and ETC wins, Fr0zen finishes
which
5th.
is entirely possible based off of looking at the lineups.
Looking at lineups and just looking at favorites by record.
Right. Or just looking about number of pen flingers in people's lineups.
Yeah. So even if Fr0zen loses, he's still likely to be in that top 4. He's likely to finish, between 2nd and 4th. But there is like one outcome that means he does finish in 5th. So. Oh.
These all look pretty dank. You got the spitting camel for tempo.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say Transmogrifier is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because
really interesting. Wow.
Spitting Camel has the downside of just dealing a damage to a minion. Transmogrifier has the downside of turning a Soul Mirror into a Nat Pagel. I'm taking the 1 damage to my minions.
Fair enough. I mean, it could be anything. It could even be Xiao Zhuhanar himself.
Sure.
But yes. Agreed, TJ does not seem particularly very good to play the Transmogrifier, but for now, Fr0zen has to deal with 4 secrets.
Gotta stepped it. All right.
It's a lot.
Your mind is not your
Briarthorn just wants to create chaos.
Oh, this is really smart. Knows about the ambush,
Knows the
so he can
ambush, gets to steal it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait. Does he want to attack with the camel? Potential freezing trap, and then stop your opponent from. Oh, he's Spectre
Oh no!
No, the camel! Wait, no, now the Cabal Acolyte survives. Okay, it's all good. But you much rather would have the camel, of course.
That's exactly what Briarthorn wanted to happen, because now he actually has space for more secrets.
Yeah. Briarthorn out here playing 5D chess. Knew that there was going to be an opportunity for a camel to come out. Penflinger here is pretty solid because you can play the Evil Miscreant with it.
Hey,
Yeah.
Or you can play the Saddle Hanar. I think the Hanar makes sense as well, just given that you have 2 secrets, so you can get some value off of it immediately. Does he really want to go the distance and try to greed the Hanar even further? TJ!
Oh,
Secret
yeah.
Passage Penflinger!
Oh, yeah.
And the prophecy has come
backstab.
true!
Quickly.
Told you.
But please, my mom's gets not free.
I told you so.
Oh, and arcade missiles.
Why did they even bother with the bother of like dealing with this ambush meeting? Because he just knows that he wants his Penflinger. I think he has a full hand now.
Yeah, he does.
No, does he? Oh, he does.
He does have a
What
full
do you
hand.
think?
Yep.
10 cards. I kind of thought about dumping a little bit because of that hand space. What if Briarthorn burns his second Penflinger? How does he win?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Pick the one. See?
I don't think he does.
The future is clear. Your demise be near.
These
Fr0zen
arcane
finds Secret
missiles.
Passage, Ambush, Arcane Missiles Opportunity. So he does see the secret or the spell that was picked off of the Mage choice there. So Fr0zen does have knowledge of that. And so far, smooth sailing.
Oh,
Oh. TJ, we do have a name for that kind of play. Filling up your hand with Secret Passage and then burning the Van Cleave.
no! Rodan?
It's the Fr0zen. Oh no! We exactly what I do all the time. Oh jeez. Not looking like the way Briarthorn probably envisioned it.
Direwolf.
And taking a look at how Fr0zen can respond to this. He's got a spitting camel. Nice. Cabal act like steal a card.
Your mind is not your
Be nice.
Is that again? It's the ambush token, which I don't even know what it's called. Broken Ambusher. Interesting. Today I learned.
Yep. So I'm waiting for the time where they just name a token like Jerry. Just cause they want to humanize it.
Hey, loser.
Briarthorn gets to work. Those pens ain't gonna fling themselves. Does end up playing a secret, his last secret with Hanar in the hand. Oh no, he has an ambush in hand. But... So I guess he's gonna save that for later, which is totally fine. He's playing a value course.
Token. Oh my gosh.
More
He's got
value.
so
you got...
much value in his hand with Penflingers. Now he's gonna have more.
Yes. All the pens that you can hold.
Like, look at these hands. Fr0zen has 2 spitting camels just in his hand. I feel like that was a perfect opportunity to make use of a spitting camel to play into snipe.
Yes.
Like, he could spitting camel to test for snipe and then go set the Gil Weaver. Holy smite, holy smite.
Right now, the trade just stabilized. What a very unusual, like... It kind of feels like a zoo versus a priest matchup in a way. Like, Briarthorn just, like, slowly building up incremental value over a lot of turns, grinding the board away. With more Penflinger action? Yes. All of those pens.
Oh, up to no good. Me too.
So Briarthorn thinking about playing one of the ambushes. He got 2 of them. Again, Shaoju Hanar just chilling. Definitely one of those weird situations where I think Briarthorn imagined that he'd be playing Shaoju Hanar again much earlier than this. Otherwise, the Shadow Step feels like it was played a little bit preemptively. But I think Briarthorn's deviating slightly given how much he feels like he can get mileage off this pen flinger.
Yeah,
and he's not
he
wrong.
can get a ton of like. The problem I see with this game is like Briarthorn trying to get too fancy with all this stuff. But honestly, he's actually just whittling Fr0zen down. It's just going to get tougher and tougher for him to deal with the board with Penflinger because it's a lot of mana, and the more mana that he has access to means more mana that Fr0zen has access to, which means, you know, the minions he's going to play are going to be bigger. So,
right. But like you said, he's in a position where he's in ahead, and therefore he's in an advantage, and therefore the Penflinger can still be utilized effectively. But it does call into question if Fr0zen, say, plays like a very big Murozond turn, what does Briarthorn do? You're just gonna, I guess he set up enough damage that he can just rush past the Murozond.
Penflinger with Murozond. Because a lot of times in a Penflinger turn, you're playing Penflinger like 4 or 5 times.
Just
play Murozond and get like 5 Penflingers on board, and then just play a spell and get them all back.
Yeah, and then this was the other question. What if Fr0zen just finds AoE, and then Briarthorn's no longer ahead? Because that's about to be the case here in a turn or two when he has this, and he's clearing off all the board, he heals. My player Karsh probably has to get sapped here from Briarthorn's side. And if not, we still have to deal with this minion. Okay, is it time to unleash the Shaoju Hanar here?
Well, sap feels so good here. It's a double whammy sap. You get rid of the evil miscreant that's in this Mind Flayer Karsh, you get rid of the Apotheosis.
Right.
You get to fling some pens.
Love flinging some pens.
Damn.
From nothing power.
Pilfer to get more Penflinger value? I mean,
keep going, man.
Like,
do it.
Like, I sense a theme coming around here, TJ.
Yeah, he just picks the cheapest thing, or the thing that gives him the most other things, the most other cheap things.
Right.
All right, then dagger up, hit for 2 or 3. Yeah. And push a couple damage, turn after turn. Keep doing that, you're gonna get him eventually. Fr0zen's starting to run out of stuff.
Does look like Fr0zen is getting like drained out of his resources, so yeah, things are looking pretty nice so far for Briarthorn. But maybe Fr0zen can change it all with just one Secret Passage. Secret Passage, Murozond, get all those Penflingers back, you Penfling him. And you have like all these pens.
I never lie, but I never tell the truth.
I mean, I like it. Never surrender, just make your board more resilient, and that does happen to be very good into Fr0zen's AoE. And plagiarize. Finds Redemption. I mean, this is Redemption. You can triple trade, so you can just isolate the Hanar. That makes sense. Or Bamboozle, perhaps.
Bamboozle's good since it seems like he's just trying to win the game off like this tiny little board.
Right. Okay. Brain Freeze, Penflinger, Pilfer.
Yep. And then still gets to push a little bit of chip damage. And has a nice full Christmas tree.
Right.
I would be so annoyed if I was Fr0zen.
Whoa. TJ. I mean, you get a full tree of secrets, basically, right?
There it is.
You get pen flingers. Yes, TJ, it's about to happen. TJ, yes, I like this.
I don't even know what's happening.
Okay.
Dirty Tricks, Redemption, Bamboozle. Is it Brain Freeze something? What is he Brain Freeze? Alright.
Woof. Woof. Sees all the secrets, and then Briarthorn gets Fr0zen right back. Since so Fr0zen knows about these secrets because he knows about Plagiarize. If he plays any other card, gives it to Briarthorn, which I think he's okay with.
These secret passages, he forces them to burn a card. So he would give him a secret passage back, Fr0zen, and Dirty Tricks.
Oh, okay. This is a tough board to dissect.
The
The thing is, Briarthorn also knows what secrets there are.
Think.
And the first thing I was thinking about is whether or not Briarthorn could set up lethal, but it doesn't seem like that is the case here. This is so messy, right? Because there's how much power on the board? There's 10, 19 power in minions. You gotta deal with something. And he's gonna transform a minion through Bamboozle, finds Reno. Wait. He's gonna play Fr0zen. Fr0zen's gonna play Fr0zen
and a spitting camel, and that's it.
a spitting camel. And then use
then he can
Fr0zen to
rush.
trade?
But then he gives Fr0zen another Fr0zen and a Rush Lackey.
Right. And a pen flinger. So both players trying to play around each other's Plagiarize. And the lackey dies, which means that Fr0zen gets to play his Fr0zen to summon Fr0zen and a Goblin lackey, then rush both of those in. But he's also aware of the secrets, so he has to be careful of Redemption and Bamboozle right now.
Yeah.
It's starting to get a little bit weird and abstract.
Okay, Dark Iron Dwarf. So there's still Redemption. Never Surrender. And Dirty Trick. Okay, those are the three that are left.
And then from here, just trade down, stabilize into the board. Don't let your opponent get any more Hanar value. Looks
Okay.
like Fr0zen has stabilized the board state, but it did cost him a lot of his resources, so he's going to really hope that he can get a lot of mileage off of this one. Briarthorn picks up the Backstab. And so with Backstab, does that change the course of him wanting to do something else this turn? He does have Penflinger still in his hand, and I think with the Penflinger, he should be able to take out most of this board right now.
Yeah, it's just that there's still a Never Surrender up, so Backstab, instead of dealing 2 damage, will give Fr0zen 7 health, or 6 health on board. Because it'll deal 2, but then give him 8 in net 6 loss.
Wasn't me. Quickly. simple spell should
Whoa!
Okay.
Double deadly
Two
poison.
deadly
So you
poisons for damage with pen
All right.
flingers. Suddenly,
Oh my gosh.
Briarthorn's playing Demon Hunter.
on wings of destruction.
He's got so much damage next turn. Oh no, Apotheosis!
gosh.
That's game over.
Yeah, so he attacks with the Fr0zen that's weak first, has to see what secret it is. Very much knows about the possibility of freezing trap.
A simple spell.
We get first Cobalt Spellkin. I think because of Never Surrender as well, right? So he needs to account for stuff.
Yep, there's also Dirty Tricks, which means Briarthorn's going to burn 2 cards.
Right. Okay, so he's testing for Pressure Plate. So he sees no Pressure Plate. Now he can freely Apotheosis and go for a trade. Has to do this correctly. If he messes up and attacks immediately with the minion debuffs, he is going to be in for a world of hurt. DJ.
What is he?
Oh, no, he's dead.
Briarthorn smiled!
Wow.
He smiled!
He can't believe
He
it.
smiled!
He can't believe it. Oh
He
my
smiled!
goodness.
Fr0zen gets the reward for the first person to make Briarthorn smile with that play. That was atrocious.
Well, you said it. You said that Fr0zen also gets to make Briarthorn smile, so in a way, we're all winners. Briarthorn's up 2-1. That was uncharacteristic mistake out of Fr0zen. We kind of talked about the freezing trap and how it's really important for you to attack correctly. He was accounting for pressure plate. He was thinking about all the different ranges and just kind of forgot about one of the basic secrets in the Hunter package, freezing trap, which returns the first minion that attacks to the hand. So another day, another thrown game here in Grandmasters. It does seem like we're seeing lots of it, and the way we actually do see a lot of this kind of stuff happen towards the later end of the season because there's a lot on the line for certain players. There's relegation or there's chance of missing playoffs and then getting into the relegation bracket instead. And so the intensity has been ramped up. And players need to stop making these kinds of mistakes, but when you know that needs to happen, that makes you more inclined to make those mistakes, TJ.
Yeah, it does. That's just brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal. I mean, I called it game over because as long as he sequences attacks there properly, I just don't think there's ever a world where he loses that game. It's rare that we see a mistake that actually just completely cost the game, but that was one of them. And now got to shake it off. Briarthorn, only deck he has left is his Control Priest. And again, theme of the week for Briarthorn is the Penflinger. Did include one in the Control Priest. It's kind of interesting, right? Because you actually do play a lot of cheap spells in the deck. You have Wand Makers. You already play Draconic Studies, Renew, and Raise Deads. So sometimes, that Penflinger early on can either let you hold on to your Wild Pyromancers to be greedier, or let you combo with Wild Pyromancers to clear even wider pool states. In the mirror matchup, however, I don't think it's gonna do much. I think he gives up a lot for the Priest Mirror. I guess not that much, because it's essentially replacing a Holy Smite that Fr0zen has in his deck. The big thing is that Briarthorn does just run extra removal. He runs Penance, he runs double Shadow or Death, he only runs one Septic Veil Weaver. No Madame Lazul. So he just has kind of a little bit straight up less like card for card value in order to, have more removal and have more one-to-one spells for Penflinger.
Right.
So I would give a very slight edge to Fr0zen because of that. But, we have seen Control Priest mirrors come down to tempo sometimes. Penflinger allows you to have a lot more tempo early on and use less resources to gain that tempo.
Yeah. Well, here we go. We're going to game number 4, Fr0zen needs to shake it off, right? Like, yes, missing that was not good, to say the least, and you know, you kind of throw the game in front of thousands of people who are watching, but you got to move past it and keep on pressing on. So Fr0zen's gonna play these Cleric of Scales and prepare the way for him to be able to win the tempo matchup. I think he was looking pretty aggressively for an Apotheosis so he can stack his 1/1s here. Briarthorn, of course, does not have the Penflinger. Where do you need Penflinger the most and you don't get him? You can see the disappointment in Briarthorn's face.
Yeah. That's why you got to put 2 in your decks and not 1. Ooh. I mean, Silence would fit with the theme of Penflinger, right? Actually, Renew could get a Silence, which means it's 2 Penflinger activations. So we got to think ahead in that regard.
You right?
I wonder.
Mystery Choice would also fit in the theme of Briarthorn making unexpected choices. Holy Nova! That's even more unexpected than Mystery Choice.
Fair enough. Holy Nova was Mystery Choice all along. Arc Villain Rafam makes an appearance and a cameo here. Okay. I mean, we're talking about a priest versus priest matchup, which it really might come down to how much value you can get. If you really don't have anything else good remaining, let's say you got a bunch of like small removal spells. You know, Fr0zen has his Holy Smite in his deck, or he has like a Wild Pyromancer, things that don't really matter. He can totally just transform those cards into legendaries, which I'm sure is everything that people hope for when they're looking for like ways that they can get value in a situation where you're too far behind. So I'm looking forward to it, TJ. And if you're not, then you don't like Hearthstone.
No.
But Archvillain Rafam, like those kinds of games make really iconic moments. I think about the previous, the 2019 World Championship that happened in Taiwan, where Hunter Ace and Viper had a really crazy back and forth game, quite possibly the most epic and legendary Hearthstone series we've ever seen in terms of the drama and the twists and turns. And so, how fitting would it be that maybe players like Briarthorn and Fr0zen might be fighting for their livelihood as Grandmasters in a priest mirror, which Arc Villain Rafam has no business being in, and yet somehow worms his way in. Very on point for his brand.
You know, Arc Villain Rafam can also be incredibly bad. But honestly, we may not even get to that point. Because of the fact that Fr0zen's taking tempo here.
Yeah, he's very far ahead.
Briarthorn hasn't drawn his Penflinger yet. So there's just no way he can come back.
Your mind is not your own.
Well, he can Cabal Acolyte and steal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he steals his opponent's a Cabal Acolyte or his Cobalt Spellkin.
Oh, Mind Vision. There's only one card that this is going to take, right? All right.
Yeah, Wild Pyromancer.
Dance, puppet, dance.
Oh, it'd be so perfect if he found a way to get the Arc Villain Rafam somehow into his hand. How would he do that? Now that Mind Vision excuse me, Mind
Wand
Vision
Maker,
played.
Cobalt Spellkin, Raise Dead for Wand Maker, Cobalt Spellkin into Mind Vision.
Right.
Renew into Thought Steal. Oh, not Thought Steal.
Renew into Mind Vision.
Madame Lazul. Another Madame Lazul from random
Wand Maker into Mind
generation.
Vision. Cobalt Spellkin into Mind Vision.
Must consider.
Cobalt Spellkin into a Renew into a Mind Vision.
Oh, Renew into a Mind Games that pulls a Cobalt Spellkin that then gets Raised Dead into a Renew into a Mind Vision.
Ah, that's the one. I like it. I like it.
There's a lot of ways. Let's just put it that way.
There's a few I can think of. Early tempo taken through. Fr0zen not going to relinquish it. Does look like he wants to trade down the board here, but thinking about how he can utilize other cards that there was hero power. Ends up going for a Renew.
Ooh. I always like more Soul Mirrors. But he has firm control of the board.
Well, Briarthorn unironically does want a pen flinger in this situation. Normally you don't say that and and think like, okay, pen flinger would be really good, but he's got so many cheap spells and like ways to activate the pen flinger, and there's a lot of weak minions on Fr0zen's side that actually ends up being a very big miss that the deck have the ability to capitalize onto it right now. Finds another Volpera Scoundrel, which can be finding a spell that can help him later on in the game. I don't think it's something that you want to play right now. I think you want to capitalize off this Pyromancer while you can. But the more spells that you invest, the fewer opportunities you get to fling.
Yeah. Which I think I've abandoned hope for the pen flinger at this point. Just play with your hand. Which would mean Renew on the Wild Pyromancer, but he may not want to deal any more damage. Okay.
Alright. Sure. Steal the Mind Flayer? Okay.
I'm
sure.
I'm almost certain that can also steal the dead Cobalt Acolyte.
Well, it didn't, TJ.
It didn't, but it can, and so I don't think, because Spellburst triggers before anything else, before minion deaths resolve. It's the same reason why you can get a pen flinger back even if it gets killed off by a Wild Pyromancer, because Spellburst activates first. So that is a risky play, because he could have dumped a Cobalt Acolyte and a Wave of Apathy and stolen a dead minion.
Right. It could have been really bad, but I mean, this is Briarthorn we're talking about. Come on. He's ready. He's ready for anything. Oh,
he hasn't stolen a dead minion a day in his life.
Passed around. My player Karj ends up on the right side here for Fr0zen. Steals the Cabal Acolytes. Ends up using this Power Word Shield. I mean, this is a lot of board presence right now. Yeah. Briarthorn has no response to it at the moment. Maybe Renew can find Soul Mirror? Just to help stabilize?
Even Shadow or Death. You can like Mind Flayer Karj, Shadow or Death. Or it's not too out of control.
Yeah, right now things definitely do not look like they are going well for Briarthorn's board stabilization. Fr0zen's fought for tempo very diligently. Okay, that Aeon Reaver is actually very good in this spot because it shuts down the Murozond. But he loses the Pyromancer value. He's going to greed. Oh, finds the penance. He is rewarded. He is not going to go for it. He is very resilient on winning back the board. The issue is, what if your opponent just steals your Mind Flayer?
Also, what if they just kill you?
Well, yeah, but it's Fr0zen has a ton of cards in his hand, and he's showcased that he's trying to play for tempo here. You think he's not going to try to steal this Mind Flayer? Job done. And Briarthorn is completely outmuscled here on the board with no AoE right now, and that last chance was his Pyromancer here.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay, Murozond will play a Wave of Apathy, so it does help him stall, and he
Also play a
can
Cobalt
penance.
Acolyte.
Yes, it also play a
Depends on the
Cobalt
order, though.
Acolyte. Right. He could just penance afterwards.
Oh yeah, he can penance
The
him.
winds of destruction they come.
Probably shut down the taunt.
Yep. I was looking for Mind Flayer or the Murzon.
Dance, puppet. Dance.
Does not find
And at
it.
least that's a taunt.
So the first thing I'm looking at is Soul Mirror and how it can be applicable here. It does feel like you kill off the board, but Fr0zen probably wants something better because he can Shadow Word Death. Ooh, okay. Pyromancer plus the cheap spells are interesting, but he only has 4 mana remaining. Mind Vision can find Sethic Veil Weaver. That's a pretty good pickup. And I guess instead of trading his board unnecessarily here, he's just going to Holy Smite, because he knows that if he trades, he gets all this free damage. So it's almost as if Briarthorn played like a Holy Nova onto his board if he bumps everything into it. Briarthorn finds another Penance. So Paris Scoundrel can do anything. It can find the exact card he needs. He finds Initiation, which is a very nice opportunity to kill off that Murazon. Briarthorn wants to dream bigger.
He's got different
though.
plans.
He's got different plans. And he's getting value off of the Sethic Veil Weaver.
Yeah. Ooh, and it stops there. Oh, wait, Wand Maker?
Not necessarily. Wand Maker or the Lackey could potentially give Briarthorn another spell to play, but for now I think this looks pretty solid. I like it. And I think this Dark Prophecy might be able to even give Briarthorn a pretty significant edge, or the Wand Maker, plus the 1-mana spell.
Gotta make a decision, though.
Okay, so Wand Maker Lackey makes the most sense here.
Loot Hoarder, okay. Low on resources. Another Murzon.
Oh my
gosh.
A lot of cards got played last turn. Sethic Veil Weaver, Dark Prophecy,
Your mind
Vampire
is not
Scoundrel, bunch of cheap spells. But it seems like Fr0zen is more intent on guaranteeing that he's going to steal his opponent's loot order. I like it. A starvation strategy. Sign me up. Now Briarthorn needs to find a way to deal with this as a Veil Weaver, or else he's going to fall too far behind in the value battles.
Another Soul Mirror.
Fr0zen found a Soul Mirror.
A simple spell should do.
I want my Loot Hoarder back.
Yeah, and I think
50-50.
Briarthorn probably can start to dream big. His Renew. Plague of Death, that's big.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Goblin Lackey can be played here. Wand Maker can also be played. Looks like Briarthorn says, you know what? You can extend it to the board. I'm going to Plague of Death.
There's really no
And
reason
if I'm
for Fr0zen to
Fr0zen-
send onto the board, though. He's winning the value battle. Just make
Right.
some trades and hit him in the face. Or just, you know, play Arch, Villain, Rafam.
I think Arc Villain Rafam would actually be not awful in this position, but I think that, you know, it lowers your win rate, unfortunately. Like, I would say that it normally playing Arc Villain Rafam flips you from, like, whatever position you're in into a losing position, or a deeper losing position. But I think from here, it'd be like taking a spot where Fr0zen's like, I don't know, 80% favored to like 70% favored.
Well, I don't know, because what does he play now? He plays Murzon, kills itself. He plays
plays
Archvillain
Dragon Queen
Farm,
Alexstrasza.
turns into legendaries, or plays Dragon Queen Alexstrasza as an 8/8.
It's very threatening.
Briarthorn, he's comfortable. He's like, I'm favored now. Look at him.
Oh.
He's like, you just got outplayed.
That's right. Should have played
That
around
Plague
it.
of Death came out of nowhere. There's no way you could have
Right.
expected that.
You were busy staring at my pens. You should have paid attention to your feet. There's quicksand.
He's
I
gonna play
hate
a
that
Sethic
Briarthorn has
Veilweaver.
the pocket sand tech.
Sethic Veilweaver Wild Pyro? Like that's your play?
He wants to get soul mirror value, I think.
On wings of destruction.
Fr0zen value?
Come.
I think he wants to collect these high value cards before he has to go to Rafam. Rafam is very much a fourth down, all in play.
I mean, not even joking. Fr0zen's 5 cards deeper in fatigue. 4 cards, excuse me.
I mean, I know you're not joking, DJ. I legitimately thought that Rafam was not a bad card to play. I even said it. I think that it's a pretty solid play. Oh, no. I think that's another thing, too, about... I guess, okay, so he knows about another... I think maybe this is what he's thinking about. If he plays a big minion, he knows that Briarthorn has the ability to steal with the Cabal Acolyte. So I think he says, I don't want to get like Rafam or Dragon Queen stolen. Instead, I'd rather just play small stuff, bait Briarthorn into extending onto the board, then collect the Soul Mirror or Fr0zen value. I think that's what makes sense. Because if he just played another minion onto the board, it's a lot harder to deal with like an Alexstrasza that's like an 8/8 or a 1/8 than these smaller minions. Agree?
I suppose.
Conveniently buffing that Cabal Acolyte ended up being a very annoying thing for Fr0zen.
Yeah.
Well done by Briarthorn. The double Grave Rune, though, TJ.
Yeah, but Grave Rune is so tough to play in this matchup because you just don't want it to get stolen.
No, TJ. What you do is you Grave Rune their 1/1s.
Wait.
You Grave Rune the Cleric scale so it fills up their board with garbage. No, it's a terrible play. Don't do that. Mind Vision can
Oh, there
find...
it is! Archvillain Rafam!
Yeah!
Oh, it was a 7 cost! It was so close! Oh,
I was ready, TJ.
no.
My body was ready. Aeon Reaver. Very good tempo play here. Briarthorn's going to bounce up a lot in life off the Sethic Veilweaver. Okay, but now Fr0zen can Soul Mirror and clear off this board. Then have his own Sethic Veilweaver. He has no spells to capitalize upon, though. That is the very unfortunate thing about this. So his follow play is what? Brightwing?
Yeah.
Which Brightwing, of course, is what got us into this Archvillain Rafam shenanigans in the first place.
You could also just heal up and set the Veilweaver.
True.
I wonder.
But when he's gonna play Brightwing, I guess. I don't know. I feel like he's been finding himself in awkward spots just because he hasn't been able to. Or he has been doing cards. Octosari, no thank you. Get me out.
Well, you can transform it, TJ, into something else. It could be anything. It could even be Octosari. Somehow, despite playing a much lower value priest, Briarthorn's brought it to this doorstep where Fr0zen has to kind of determine what he's going to think about in this end stage of the game.
Fr0zen has, like, he's got
I wonder.
no use for Cabal Acolytes and Cabal Shadow Priest except
Let me
for
change
taking
your mind.
2, which is, you know, decent tempo, but another Soul Mirror. All right. So looking at what Fr0zen has left in his deck. Cobalt Spellkin, double Apotheosis,
What
double
is
Wand
in
Maker,
yours will.
Sethic Veilweaver. Final 6
I mean, Sethic Veilweaver might be the only card that I think I value if I'm Fr0zen. Everything else, I'm like totally okay with not being a thing. Or rather, just like waiting for it.
Wait, what?
The one say.
If he does the Soul Mirror first, he just has a Twilight Drake.
Okay.
A simple spell.
Ooh.
What? He just has an extra 4/6 on the board.
I think so, yeah. That sounds right.
I must
I
consider.
have to go back and actually look, but I think you're spot on with that.
He doesn't want
He
a
didn't need to.
4/6.
Basically, he didn't need
I
to
don't
trade
know.
into the Drake beforehand, right?
You trade into the Drake and then Soul Mirror. If he doesn't trade into the Drake,
Right.
you have plenty of board space, right? Because he gets 3 minions.
Right. But then
He
he
just
has
has a
more
4/6.
minions on the board for Fr0zen's Soul Mirror.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Ah, yes. Planning ahead. I'm going to make my Soul Mirror worse to make my opponent's Soul Mirror worse.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense if you think about it.
And therein lies our problem.
Yeah, because it just feels like the amount of value that you would want to get for cards incentivizes you to play for positive tempo, not sabotage your own tempo, in order to deny your opponent's tempo options.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a priest mirror, and weird things do happen.
I can sum it up by saying, usually it's better to make the better play. There we go.
Yes. And usually you're right.
Top Russian analyst. Not even self.
Don't you forget it. I'll self-proclaim.
All right, gets to cash in on some double Murzons. Great.
Right. And Fr0zen gets to cash in with his Soul Mirrors. I don't know if I care about playing Wild Pirates on the board here. It's now like actually getting to the reform status. I think Fr0zen's just dumping his hand for the Dragon Queen so that he can make hand space for it. Still waiting on the ability to drop it.
I mean, it's unfortunate for Fr0zen that he's had 2 duplicates still with 4 cards left in his deck. Like his last 4 cards are Wand Maker, Apotheosis, Apotheosis. So he still needs 2 more draws. Maybe even 3, worst case scenario, but at least 2. Oh, wait.
Brave
That's a
Rune?
bait. Oh no, it's not a bait because he has Cabal Shadow Priest plus Wave of Apathy himself to steal it right back.
Right. So he could set the bait, TJ. He can bait Fr0zen and then steal it. But then the problem is, what if Fr0zen has another Soul Mirror? Because then he just gets it anyways.
Ah, yes. You're absolutely right. But don't do it first.
So you don't want to get baited into your opponent's bait for your bait. Okay. Fr0zen could play the Apotheosis, but he knows about the opportunity for the Wave of Apathy, so just gonna steal and create more targets for it. Briarthorn does not look happy about it.
Dance, puppet. Dance.
He doesn't. I don't think I've ever seen him this livid. I'm actually becoming really good at deciphering Briarthorn's emotions.
You are the Briarthorn Whisperer.
Right now, he's smack dab in the middle of frustration and rage, but also 5% hopefulness.
I wonder.
But over the course of my time, learning to read Briarthorn, there's always at least 5% hopefulness.
Fair enough.
You can't beat Briarthorn without it.
That's right. The composition of a Briarthorn.
Let me change your mind.
60% water, 20% hope and preparation, 10% luck, 5% of the little hope.
That's 95%.
5% TJ's affection and support.
There we go.
It's not your weapon.
Wait a second.
Dance, puppet. Dance.
The Cabal Acolyte there was,
He's dumping his hand? Dumping his
I guess, dumping his hand. But why? That's a legendary.
Right. Well, it's more than just dumping his hand. He's establishing tempo, right? So, like, he doesn't want to fall too far behind on it, even though he pretty much doesn't need to worry about it. But yeah, I agree, and I think overall, like, Fr0zen still has held onto his Arc Villain Rafam, giving him fewer outs, making it, a little bit less dramatic for us, but understandable.
What is Elun's will?
And still very quickly running out of cards. It has gone as worse as it possibly can for Fr0zen. This is the absolute latest possible in the game that Dragon Queen Alexstrasza can be active. His last 2 cards are wand makers. Were wand makers. Now that's a bold soul mirror, Dan.
All right, here we go. Dragon Queen time.
That he used the soul
Scale
mirror
Lord.
to do exactly what Shadow or Death could do.
You're not wrong.
Wait a second, Daniel.
Oh,
He steals them both. He steals
He
them
can steal
both.
both.
He planned this.
Yeah.
He planned this.
I like it.
Forget what I said. He used the soul mirror because he wanted to have a Cabal Acolyte to be able to do this exact play. Grave Rune into Wave of Apathy. Never seen a better Priest Mirror player. Never seen one.
You didn't think that was gonna happen, TJ?
No, I didn't. I did not see
yourself
this.
the Briarthorn Whisperer.
I did not see that. Look at that. Look at it. He planned
It's
this.
great.
He used the Soul Mirror to kill a 6/5. A 6/5, something that Shadow or Death could do, just so he could have a Cabal Acolyte, a full health Cabal Acolyte. Because he knew that if Fr0zen played something big onto this board, which was really the only way he'd get back tempo, that he would be able to steal the big minions. What a play.
I'm a fan, and I really wish that there was an opportunity to use this Arc Villain Rafam, but alas, I don't think we're going to get many chances to look at it unless Fr0zen pulls the trigger now. Still has a small window of opportunity, but it is closing rapidly. Embalming Ritual, perhaps, or a Wand Maker? Looking for something to play Elfseer on the board.
Gale
Maybe
Lord?
Hero Power is also okay.
Quickly.
Yeah, Scale Lord is certainly something to think about as well.
Break the wall, see?
Wow.
And
He's
gets
doing it
a
again.
second wave of apathy.
He's going to do it again.
He's just
Oh
gonna
my
do it again.
god. Don't do it to him, Briarthorn.
Fr0zen's in fatigue. He could just pick which ones he steals.
Yeah.
You just
and
trade
he's gonna
this
steal the
over.
biggest one.
Basic Draconite goes over the Wand Maker. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza goes over the Onyx Mage Scribe. He just does it again. He's been planning this.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay, this play,
Okay.
because both of all these are decent size, this play allows him to value trade into the one he doesn't see.
Yes. That's right.
So it keeps health on his Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, which I think is good.
Yeah. This looks pretty strong, and overall, like, Briarthorn still in a really good spot here. Even if he misses out just a little bit.
He's dead. Fr0zen's, that's a loss.
You have best.
Briarthorn's praying.
Wow!
And his prayers are answered.
Look at it! Briarthorn with pop up! He popped off! He popped off! Briarthorn just popped off. You may have missed
Right.
it, but it happened. I
didn't miss it at all, TJ. I was locked in. I
was
cannot
here.
wait. I cannot wait for next year in 2021. I could say on this day in history, October 4th, Briarthorn popped off on Fr0zen.
And now, with that win, Briarthorn has guaranteed top 2 in Division B.
That's right.
Guaranteed top 2. And if he lost that game, he was in the relegation bracket. He is safe for another season. We will see Briarthorn back in spring of 2021 for Grandmasters. And honestly, like, I wasn't sold on the play in the pre-smear early on, but he understood that as long as he keeps up in tempo, like, he still had all these value cards packed in the bottom of his deck. And he made, like, these kind of clutch plays, like the Soul Mirror at the end, to set up